Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, Daily Motion, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Monday, February 16th, 2015, around 5:02 in the afternoon in Belleville, Massachusetts. Sunny out, but chilly. Highs about 15 today, and it felt well below zero because of the wind shield. We're going to get maybe a cold into an inch of snow in most of Massachusetts tomorrow with a winter weather advisory for the Cape and the islands. They could face off up to 5 to 6 inches of snow. Maybe a big storm this weekend. Some news to report. Sad news in the world of entertainment. Singer Leslie Gore, famous for having the song "It's My Party and I Cry If I Want to, Cry If I Want to, Cry If I Want to," passed away at the age of 68. Prayers to her family. And also some baseball news. Jason Giambi has announced his retirement from Major League Baseball after 20 seasons. The New York Yankees have announced they're going to retire Andy Pettitte, number 46, Jose Posada, number 20, and Bernie Williams, number 51. This season, the Yankees are running out of numbers to retire. Soon they'll be wearing numbers that are in the hundreds. And prayers to former Major League Baseball player Pedro Guerrero, who is in the intensive care unit at a hospital. He suffered a apparent stroke, so prayers to Pedro Guerrero. And that's about it on the news. It was a little bit long. And one more thing, limited MBTA service on commuter rails, bus, subways, and commuter boats, and the ride because of the snow and the cold. This is the second straight day it's going to happen on Tuesday. MBTA has serious problems, my friends. They have serious problems. Well, I'll get to that later on. And my next subject is about why no NCAA Division I men's basketball team will go undefeated the entire year. The last time an NCAA men's basketball Division I team went undefeated was 1976 when Indiana won the national championship by going 32-0. Since then, there's been many teams that have gone undefeated for a long stretch of time, but they did not win the national championship. Indiana was the last one to win it in 1976. Since then, there was about a handful of teams. In 1979, the Indiana State Sycamores, with Larry Bird, made it to the NCAA championship game, but they lost to Michigan State and Magic Johnson. Also in 1979, Alcorn State was undefeated in the regular season, but they weren't invited to the NCAA tournament because back then there was only 32 teams invited, and Alcorn State was left out. They went to the NIT, got bounced in the second round. And it was also UNLV Running Rebels that they made it to the NCAA Final Four in 1991, but they got booted by Duke. And it also was 2004 St. Joe's. They went undefeated in the regular season, but they lost in the Atlantic 10 tournament. But they got eliminated in the second round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. And recently, in 2014, last year, Wichita State went undefeated in the regular season, winning the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, but they got bounced in the second round by Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. The reason why I don't think an NCAA men's basketball team will run the table and win every single game, including the national championship, because there's a lot of pressure on that team if they win 25, 30 wins in a row. It's the pressure. Plus, in addition, many of these teams will have to play conference tournaments to determine their seeding. And sometimes they could get knocked out in the conference tournament in the first or second round, but they would still get the number one seed in the NCAA tournament. If they somehow survive the conference tournament and stuff like that, they'll get the number one overall seed, some of these teams. The Kentucky right now is undefeated at 25-0, and a lot of people are saying they're going to run the table to win the NCAA championship tournament. I don't think it's going to happen. They could get knocked out in the SEC tournament, not win it, but they'll still get the #1 seed. But it's going to be a very difficult task. I think the reason why it's going to be difficult for Kentucky, because there's so much pressure through the media, social media, fans. You got ESPN, you got Fox Sports Net, you got CBS, Turner. You got so many media, and the media is going to pressure Kentucky. How are you going to deal with it if you lose? If you lose, and Kentucky, I think, probably will win the national championship for NCAA men's basketball, but this year. But they're not going to go undefeated, in my opinion. They probably could lose a game before the SEC tournament or at the SEC tournament. You never know. If they win the SEC tournament, it's going to be very difficult for them to win 6 straight wins in the big dance. They'll win the first game because that's a 16 seed. But the pressure will go maybe on the second game when the 8-9 seeding comes out, because those third round games, the round of 32 is tough. Last year, Kentucky knocked off #1 Wichita State in this round of 32. And you don't know who's going to be the 8-9 seed. It could be a good team, and they could be chomping at the bits to beat Kentucky. And then if somehow Kentucky gets through that, they'll have to face maybe usually the 4th seed or something. That could be a very tough game. And if they somehow survive, they'll face off against the #2 or #3 seed. That could be a tough game as well. And then somehow, if they are still undefeated at the Final Four, then that's going to be real difficult for them. And the Final Four team could be a great team. And the national championship game, they should not think about that with the undefeated for them. It would be a very difficult task. It would be like the NFL team trying to run the table with 17-0. Or, not 17-0, 19-0. It would be a very difficult task. I don't think Kentucky or any other team from now to the end of eternity will go undefeated in the regular season for the NCAA men's basketball Division I. It's an impossible task. It's been 40 years since it's done. It won't be done again, in my opinion. And if it's done, it'd probably be a fluke thing. But it's not going to be Kentucky this year. I'm guaranteeing you that. They will not go undefeated. If they win the SEC tournament, they're not going to win the national championship because they're going to probably be knocked out along the way in the NCAA tournament. And I bet to say if they get knocked out in the NCAA tournament, probably be either the round of 32 or the Sweet 16, because the pressure. It's just going to build on them. And that's about it on that. I'll be back later for the third and final video blog of the night, which will be about the personality profile, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. And don't forget, more of these personality profiles this week. I'm going to include Bill Russell, Frank Robinson, Jim Rice, and Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. See you later, Facebook, YouTube, Daily Motion, and Twitter. Tonight. Bye.